All right, folks, we are live and we about to get into it.
You are listening to The Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Yeah. Right here on WLOU. Stream it live on Facebook and WLOUonline.com. And now, The Tipping Point Show.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody over in, let's see, Zimbabwe? Yeah, everybody over in Johannesburg, everybody over in Cincinnati, Nashville, everybody in Louisville, Kentucky. Welcome once again to the Tipping Point Morning Show. It is yours truly, Mr. Just Ask Joe, and my brother from another mother, Mr. Esoteric Concepts, John Yah himself. How you doing there, brother?
I am awesome, brother. How about yourself this morning?
I am fantastic. What's up, Dr. No Job? What's going on? You know, we got to talk to that brother, figure out what does he mean by Dr. No Job? You know what I mean? I could just use context clues and I could just assume, right? And I could say, man, this brother focuses on business and having no job, just over broke. He's trying to be better than that. So I get that. But we're gonna have to get him to give us some real definitions and descriptions of that, man. But what's going on with you, man? How's your week been?
Man, it's been an awesome week. Of course, we got all this controversies going on with the war. All of a sudden, COVID's out the door, and now the war's in, right? So,
man, what? And it's funny because I'm seeing a lot of different memes and stuff like that out there where people are talking about how, COVID's out. I seen one the other day. It was a picture of the globe, the Earth, right? And it was two doors. One was COVID going out, and the other one was the war coming in. And I post one this morning that was very similar to that, man. And I'm just like, dude, what is going on? It reminds me of what you talked about before, brother, when you said something like they keep us in a certain state of mind. Do you remember what it is you call that?
Yeah, they keep us stressed out. They always got something going on to stress us out, to keep us worried about what's next. So much so that we can't focus and fix our problem because you're in a state of survival. And when you're in a state of survival, you don't create nothing new. You don't start nothing new. You just kind of stay there in that survival mode. When you're in survival mode, you know what you don't do. You don't spend any money. You don't try to do nothing new. You don't try to take any risk or anything. And you just stand still and wait till it's kind of over with, which is okay at times. But if you continue to have crisis after crisis after crisis, we become into this very stressful way of life that is pushing us to the brink of losing our minds, going to drugs, drinking alcohol, because we're always stressed. Or how we're gonna just do something simple as paying our bills. Hey, listen, what I'm learning is during a time like this, just like we talked about during COVID, how many people started new businesses and how many people came out through it shining, right? So we got to look at this same situation. We got to look at this situation the same way, to where we got to find an avenue. Right now, stocks are down, which is a good thing for some and a bad thing for others. But if you're interested in stocks right now, this is the time to jump in. Right now, this is the time to get you a share. People wonder why do I wear a Nike hat all the time? Because I own share in Nike, because I'm gonna walk in that billboard. Why would I wear something and not have some shares? And my shares are down. And so my daughter said, when your shares go down, buy some more, because eventually they're gonna go back up. Right. They're always gonna go back up, right? So we got to understand what's the difference. What can we use this information for instead of becoming scared and stressed out? What can we do to create something new? What can we do to start something new? Like the no job brother. I know that brother dancing because he ain't clocking in for nobody. He ain't punching nobody's clock. And so some people are figuring out ways to bring in more money. And let me say this. This is very interesting. Every one of us, whether you're working or not, we all have entrepreneur spirit. Whether you are clocking in for someone or not clocking in. Let me give you an example how you should see yourself as a person who's working a job from 9 to 5. Whether you're making $8 an hour or $18 or $30 an hour. What you should see yourself as an entrepreneur, meaning that you are offering your time for an exchange for money, right? So we're always selling something and we're buying something. So in a sense, at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, after you done paid your bills, bought food, pay your rent and everything, do you have a plus at the end? If you have a plus at the end, you're winning. And that's how you determine your entrepreneurship. You have to manage. Entrepreneurship is just one who has visionary. So imagine if you got money in the bank, you have visionary because you are thinking forward. If you at the end, you got a surplus, you got some money in your account after paying all your bills, you will have a surplus. You are an entrepreneur. You are learning how to have vision with your wealth. And that's extremely important right now.
Man, I'm all about that right there. I tell you what, man, you couldn't have said it any better. You couldn't have stressed it any better. There's that word again, stress, folks. So I guess stress can be a good thing at the same time, because we're trying to stress some good stuff to y'all. But hey, what is this? So I want to make sure I give a shout out to Phyllis Myers, always checking in with us on Saturdays. Brother Frank Stoner, we appreciate you always checking in on Saturdays. Hey, Brother Joseph Reeves, checking in just the same. He said, so you say that time is currency, and that is absolutely right. Facts right there. I mean, man, I remember when I used to do Vitamix sales. I used to sell this $500 piece of equipment, this blending equipment. I traveled all over the U.S. They would pay me to take care of my travel accommodations. I traveled all over, right? And it was strictly commission only. It was no salary whatsoever. Man, I tell you what, every 2 weeks I would get that paycheck for whatever sales that were done within that 2-week period. I would hold that check up. I put it in my palm of my hands, and I'd see what the amount was, but I would close my eyes and I would do like this, and I would just hold it. And if it felt right, you know what I mean? I'm thinking about the time that I spent and all of that, and I'm looking at these thousands of dollars right here in sales commission. If it felt right, we was all good. If it didn't feel right, bro, I sat down and I crunched some numbers and found some sales that they might have missed. But it's all about that time, man. Time is currency in a sense, bro. So that's exactly what you said. But with that being said, man, we got a great show for y'all today. We got an absolutely fantastic show. We are going to have a brother by the name of Dr. Simon, who will be on the show. And he's an immunologist, an allergist. He's been practicing for some years, many years. He is a staunch, right-wing Republican, but he has a very close relationship to the American Descendants of Slaves movement, and has a lot of us in his circle. And he's been someone that has advocated for this whole, alternative medicine versus what the doctors are traditionally doing when it comes to COVID. So we're happy to have him on the show. I know it's a conversation that people, we talk about it time to time. We might have a couple, few minutes time frame, talk about it every week because it's still out there. But today we're actually going to focus a little bit more on it. And we'll get into some conversation about this war and everything too. I mean, this war, I asked my kids, shout out to Jessica and Jackson Tapper. Today is their birthday, man. Those are my 15-year-old twins. Oh, wow. Today is their birthday. One boy, one girl. I did it on purpose, folks. So it's a whole formula. I'll tell y'all about it one day. One sock on, one sock off. It's all good. But with that in mind, man, those are those are two of the joys of my life, man.
Awesome.
And but I asked them yesterday. I said, "So what have they been talking about in school about this war?" And they were saying that some kids are like scared and worried about the U.S. going into war. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, man, 15-year-old kids, and they worried about us going into war, man. And I'm just like, dude, that's crazy. Like they shouldn't even be thinking about it for reals. I mean, I don't know. Is that another form of stress?
Of course.
Putting on people?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the whole thing is about propaganda. And so when you're pushing propaganda, there is someone somewhere making money off every time someone pushes propaganda. Whenever you see this thing about COVID riots, someone somewhere is banking and doubling their money and betting on people's behavior or how they're going to react based upon what they're being told in the news.
Man, you hit it because the other day, you actually post a video. I think it was yesterday. You post a video that was pretty much all about that. It was a movie, a cut from a movie. And it's interesting. They sit there and you're right. They will tell us what they do and what's going on. And we sit there and watch it, clap our hands, and we're cool with it. But guess what? There's somebody speaking some truth there, because that video was all about, basically what they do as to they create the problem. And this is sales 101. I tell people this all the time. Create the problem, solve the problem, explain value. That's sales 101. This is what people like myself that have been in sales for over 20 years understand. Create the problem, solve the problem, explain value. And that's exactly what they were talking about in this movie, how they create the problem and the need for war. They solve the problem by having the products and the whole supply chain set up. They own all of that from beginning to end. And then they explain value. Meaning they come to us, hit us with the propaganda, and showcase to us why it's important that we need to go to war so that we can be on their side and we don't riot in this country. In this country, I should say.
Right. In a sense, what they're doing with the movies, the visions, the television, is they'll make a movie actually explaining what they're doing. So then when we watch the movie, we become desensitized of it happening in reality. Oh, I saw it on TV. Oh, it ain't nothing. And what we'll do is we'll tag that into conspiracy theory, right? So we'll call it conspiracy theory, even though it's a movie, but the movie is portraying something that's actually going on. It would desensitize us to the facts that is happening. Just like look at AIDS. The creation of AIDS, they create the problem, then they have a solution to the problem to sell to the African continent after they done spread the AIDS. Well, they make a movie about it, and then it desensitizes us against those who are doing it. So we're not angry, we're not upset. It's the same thing with fluoride in water. They put fluoride in the water to dumb us down, to make our minds docile. So they create the problem, and that desensitizes us. So when they make a movie about it, it's no. Y'all heard it before, there's no sense of urgency about it. And that's what they're doing. So yeah, that was a clip of some things that they talked about in a movie of what they're doing to Africa. And when you look today, that's exactly what they're doing to Africa, right? They're stripping Africa of its minerals. And so even Africans don't know the importance of that land that they're standing on. They understand one side of the importance, but the other side is this technology, which is cell phone, internet. Everything is coming out of the ground, out of that continent. Imagine if every country on that continent knew their value. That would be the end of European rule right there. That would be the end of their rule, because as long as they keep us distracted, we're unaware of our value. And that's how that happens. Joe, did I lose you?
Oh, no, sir, you did not lose me. Are you able to pick that up?
Let's see. Yeah.
Okay, are you there? Okay, cool. So what we're gonna do, y'all, we're gonna bring Dr. Simon in, and I'm a mute you here, brother. 1 second. We're gonna bring Dr. Simon in. Y'all give us 1 second as we do this here. Let's see here. Hey, Dr. Simon. Dr. Simon,
Hello?
can you hear us?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Hold on 1 second here. All right. So, Dr. Simon, you're there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Great. Folks, we want to introduce to you Dr. Frank G. Simon. I always play around and say that the G stands for great, and sometimes I say the G stands for gangster, because he's a gangster doctor, boy. He will take care of you and make sure you're straight. But Dr. Simon, we want to introduce you to the Tipping Point Show family. And how you doing this morning?
Great.
Good stuff. Now, Dr. Simon, if you will, go ahead and kind of introduce yourself and just kind of let everyone know what it is that you specifically focus on. I know you're like double, triple board certified or something like that, but if you could go ahead and kind of give us some of your credentials and all that good stuff, so that people know who they're listening to.
Well, okay, Joe, I'm board certified in internal medicine and in allergy and immunology. And I've been in practice for about 50 years. And there are a lot of problems in America today, especially in the medical community. And I'm very concerned about that. This COVID epidemic, there's a good treatment for COVID. It's called Ivermectin. And yet, if I were to write you a prescription for Ivermectin, the drugstores wouldn't fill it. Now, that's a crazy situation, isn't it? They would not fill it. What does that mean? That means they want you to be sick.
Now let me ask you this, Dr. Simon, and Brother John, you're still there, right?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Now, Dr. Simon, let me ask you this: when it comes to ivermectin, now I remember in some of the beginnings of this, you, myself, I remember Brother Michon and a few other people. We were down at the Cuban restaurant down in Nulu, in support.
Right.
In support of them. And I remember sitting right next to you, and my head almost exploded, because it was just like, wow, this is awesome. But I remember sitting next to you, and you got a phone call, and I believe it was a patient, and I remember you saying hydroxychloroquine. You were, and I was so ecstatic,
right.
Because I was like, man, this guy is going against the grain, and he's prescribing hydroxychloroquine for his client, because at that time, that's what we were looking at. Now, what is the significance of hydroxychloroquine versus ivermectin?
Well, you kind of hit the nail on the head, Joe. Initially, we were using hydroxychloroquine to treat COVID, and it works good. But as time went by, it's been a couple of years, I guess, at least 1 year since you and I had dinner down at the Cuban restaurant. Things have changed, and the feeling is that the ivermectin works better than the hydroxychloroquine. So the whole thing is shifted to ivermectin now.
Now, ivermectin is something like a I guess similar to a something that works like for malaria or what have you. Now, I remember, John, you found ivermectin online, like, man, probably in 2020. We were talking about ivermectin on our show, right?
Correct. I found the doctor online, a primary doctor that was that I could actually, talk to over the phone, and what my problem was and everything. And they sent me a prescription to Walgreens, to my nearest Walgreens.
Wow.
For ivermectin. Yeah, they sent me ivermectin. I told them that I had COVID and that I wanted an alternative treatment, and they wrote me a prescription for ivermectin.
And that was back in 2020. Now, I think nowadays, like Dr. Simon is saying, it's a little difficult to get, I guess, ivermectin traditionally.
Yeah.
You can't write a prescription and go pick it up, right?
Yeah. Now, let me explain that just a little bit. Say 2 or 3 years ago, you could get all the ivermectin you wanted. If the doctor wrote you a prescription for ivermectin, you could take it to Walgreens or anywhere, and they would fill it for you. But after a while, they figured out that ivermectin was curing people with COVID. So they took it off. They passed they said you can't get it anymore. Okay. And so they basically took it off the market because it was curing people with COVID. Now, there's a Peter McCullough, who is a professor in medical school. And of course, he figured this out, that they were, that ivermectin was good for curing or at least helping COVID. So he started giving it to his patients like any good doctor would. Mm-hmm. And they fired him because he was helping his patients. Now, that's a crazy situation. But they fired this medical school professor because he was helping people with COVID by giving them ivermectin. Now, there's more to this story. If you go to your family doctor today and say, "Oh, I've got COVID, I've got a positive test, I did it at home or I did it at a lab," and say, "Can you give me some ivermectin?" Well, you know what? He's going to say no. He doesn't want you to have ivermectin. Now, why is that? Because it worked. That's why. And, all of the doctors in Jefferson County work for either Baptist, Norton, or U of L. And those 3 big hospital chains have gotten together and said, we're not going to give anybody this wonderful medicine because it works. I don't know why they said that, but the implication is because it works. So it's a terrible thing. Now, the other thing is, if you get COVID and you get bad, worse, and you finally have to go in the hospital because your oxygen is dropping so much, guess what? In the hospital, they will not give you ivermectin in the hospital. Now, why is that? Does that make sense to anybody? Here's a very good medicine. Now, I have in my hand an article from the Frontline Doctor. Okay, and they have 73 prospective double-blind studies that prove to anybody in science that ivermectin is very good and very effective. 73 studies. So I had a friend that worked for Norton, and I asked him, why aren't they giving ivermectin? Oh, we're not sure if it works or not. Well, here's the proof that it works. And the question is, why are they not giving it to people that need it? And
so let me ask you a question, Doc. When we
let me
go ahead.
because I'd very much like to hear from them. Why do you think that Norton's Baptist and U of L will not let their doctors give ivermectin to people that have COVID? Why is that? What do you think?
I mean, I think we can only assume at this point. I mean, I think myself, and I could probably speak for John as well. We dwell in the realm of common sense with a lot of things.
Right.
And
right.
You know, most critical thinkers, I believe, utilize common sense because that is a God-given gift that we as humans have. And common sense would tell you that, hey, if this works over here, then we should probably be using it. And there shouldn't be anybody saying, oh, well, we haven't studied it long enough, because we never studied this vaccine stuff long enough anyway to start giving it to people. So
on the head, brother.
Well, listen, let me ask you this. Now, when I read up on ivermectin, it says that ivermectin tablets are approved by the FDA to treat people with intestinal strongyloiditis and onchocerciasis, right? Two conditions caused by parasitic worms. In addition, some topical forms of ivermectin are approved to treat parasites like head lice and skin conditions such as rosacea. So when we start talking about parasites, parasitic worms, and this medicine being treated, how does that associate to COVID when this is supposed to be like a virus versus a parasitic worm?
Well,
ivermectin works.
If you got a strep throat, the best thing for that is penicillin. Now, if you got pneumonia, the best thing for that is penicillin too. So just because penicillin works for strep throat doesn't mean it won't work for pneumonia. Yeah, a lot of medicines work for different. Okay, here's prednisone. That's a cortisone. If you have rheumatoid arthritis, it will clear it up in a jiffy, in 2 or 3 days. But if you have poison ivy, the same medicine will clear up poison ivy in maybe a week or so. So there are a lot of medicines that are used for more than one thing, and that God has made it that way. I don't know why, but now. Ivermectin was invented and started because it was given to babies with roundworm and hookworm, these parasites that make the baby scratch his bottom. Okay, and so they give him this, and it clears it right up. One pill will clear it up. And so it's a God-given miracle that will help several different problems.
Let me ask you, Doc, can you hear me good?
Yes.
How you doing? This is John Yah. Listen, let me ask you a question. What's the difference when I read about COVID and I read the side effects or the effects of COVID? It sounds like me the common cold. Have we just took the word common cold and turned it into the word COVID-19?
That's a good point, but see, we're not all the same. What may be a common cold for you, if it gets into me, it could go into pneumonia or even kill me. Okay, because I'm old and you sound like you're pretty young. So the thing is, we're not all the same. Some of us are old, some are feeble, some are in good athletic shape, can run 5 miles. Okay, that's great. So some have diabetes, some have heart trouble. Okay, so if you get an old guy like me and I get COVID, well, it may do me in. But somebody that's a teenager or 20 or 30 and they don't have any other things wrong with them, well, it may be just like a cold for that guy. You know what I mean?
Yes, that sounds just like the flu shot, where they were giving people who are babies who have a weak immune system with the flu shot, but wouldn't recommend it for people who are healthy. I get what you're saying. It's based upon that person's health.
Yeah, we're all a little different. And some, like if I'm allergic to penicillin, I take penicillin, it may kill me. But if you don't have a penicillin allergy, then you can take penicillin. It would do you a world of good.
Correct. Is it true? Is it true that when someone who has had COVID and gotten over it naturally, is that their immune system, the antibodies, is stronger than any vaccine that they have out there?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's very important. And of course, the left-wing media doesn't want people to know that. They want you to think you're going to die, or so. I don't know what they want, but the media will not let that out. Now, here's the shot, what you call the vaccine, COVID vaccine shot. It's not a vaccine, and it's all these athletes take that shot and they go out and drop dead on the field.
I've been reading about that.
Absolutely. Well, the media doesn't want you to know that. Absolutely not. They want you to go out there and take those COVID shots. I would call it the poison shot. They want everybody to take the poison shot. That's why the truckers up in Canada said, no, I'm not going to take that. Anybody that knows anything about that poison shot is not going to take it because of all these athletes that are dropping dead and all the problems that are having. But the media won't do that. The media is not on our side, okay? They are they're controlled by the left wingers. I would say the communists have bought them out, and they want America dead.
Let me ask you this: how powerful is the pharmaceutical companies? Because if you're staying ill, I know that sometimes a doctor will prescribe you medicine, but you're going to have side effects and need to take other medicine. How powerful is the pharmaceutical companies in pushing this narrative?
Oh, okay. Well, let me say this. I don't really know all about these pharmaceutical companies, but they are their side effects. Okay, I'll tell you this. A few years back, see, that's one thing about being an old man. You remember what that, but a few years back, maybe 20 years ago, they knew all these side effects to the medicine. They knew that. They knew that 1% would get a cold and 5% would get a rash, and they knew all of that way back. And they put it on the package insert. In other words, what the druggist gives you about side effects. And it would put on there, okay, you got 1% chance of getting a cold, you got 2% chance of getting a rash, this and that. Okay, that was all known. It was written out on the package insert. The druggist gave it out. Okay, something happened, and all of a sudden, they don't want anybody to know. They just say, oh, well, your left arm may fall off. Well, what are the chances of the left arm falling off? 1 in 10 million. Well, they don't want you to know that. They just want you to think, oh, everybody's going to have their left arm fall off if they took this medicine. So, there's a lot of corruption in that. They know what the percentage of people that take this medicine are going to get high blood pressure or a rash or this or that. But they don't want you to know. They want you to think that everybody that takes that medicine is going to have a side effect to it. Well, now that's crazy, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. Hey, Doc. Quick question. You know, while we're on the subject of natural, or just healing and things of that nature, medicines. When it comes to penicillin, you were talking about penicillin a bit ago. A question from the crowd. Someone asked, how does penicillin compare to echinacea or golden seal?
Well, it depends on what we're treating. If we're treating a strep throat, penicillin is far and away the best thing. Now, if you're treating a viral in cold, well, then maybe the echinacea would be better than the penicillin. Okay? Depends on what you're treating.
Gotcha.
And, yeah, it's everything. It depends on what we're treating, and it makes a difference.
Now, in the 50 years, that you've been doing this, and then John's going to jump in and ask you a question, but in the 50 years that you've been doing this, have you seen anything like this whole COVID-19 quote unquote pandemic? Have you seen a scare like this before?
Now, there are videos on the internet that I remember seeing that there was a lady scientist, and she was standing in front of a big auditorium full of people, and she was more or less bragging about how she made this COVID virus. She made it and made it so it would make you sick. Okay? She made it, and she's bragging about it. And then, of course, the Chinese communists, who are, scoundrels, they are turned it loose on the world because they want to take over the world. Okay, that's what they want. So they want you sick. And there are a lot of people in America, like these drugstores and some of these hospitals, they want you to be sick too. Okay, let's just call a spade a spade. They want you sick. There are a lot of people that I hate to say all of this, but they're big businesses that will try to work against America. There's all kind of corruption in America today. It was a day when Americans would stick together and work together and try to help each other. And this thing. What is it? Kentucky motto: if we stick together, then we'll. If we don't stick together, then we'll hang separately, or something like that. Now we got, of course, the media is pumping out lies day and night, and the public schools are pumping out lies day and night, and they've taken over, and they're. It just makes me sick. Here's President Biden. He made all the military take this poison shot. Well, that's crazy, and but that's what he did. And so we got traitors in America that are against America. They're against you and me, and they want us sick, and they want us just to fail. So that's what we're up against today. So we need to pray. We need to pray for one another. We need to work together, and we need God's help every day to fight all of this corruption that's going on in our country. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did. And one of the number one things you said is very important, that there's a business in keeping people sick. There's a business in keeping people ill. So we understand that. Listen, has there anybody that you have, any of your patients that has COVID came to you and that you prescribed Ivermectin and it worked?
Oh, yeah, lots of them.
Good.
But I'll tell you this, it doesn't work for everybody. Okay? There are people that die with COVID, and it doesn't matter you give them ivermectin or not. If they're old and they got all of these complications, some of them are going to die anyway. I
Right.
hate to say that, but these medicines are good, but they're not perfect. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. So the perfect thing is actually people should be taking care of their health first before they get sick.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Now, you know, there are 3 vitamins that are supposed to help.
Okay. Give it to us.
Vitamin C,
Okay.
500 milligrams twice a day.
Okay.
Vitamin C, 500 milligrams twice a day. Then you got vitamin D, that's 2,000 units. Vitamin D, as in David, 2,000 units once a day. Then, let's see, zinc is 50 milligrams of pure zinc. When you go to get zinc, they're not going to give you zinc. They're going to give you a salt of zinc. That's zinc chloride, zinc sulfate, zinc gluconate. They're different salts of zinc. Well, that's what they're going to give you when you ask for zinc. So you got to look on the bottle and say, okay, it says 50 milligrams zinc chloride. Well, 25 milligrams may be zinc, and the other 25 milligrams may be the chloride. So you may have to take 2 a day in order to get 50 milligrams of pure zinc. But zinc is important too. So now there are a lot of other things. You know, if you came into my office today with a broken leg, we could get a book and go on the internet and figure out what we should do about your broken leg. But with COVID, there is no book, and everybody's got their own idea about what they should do about it. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Absolutely.
Okay. So they all got different, and if you go on the internet, you'll find 6 different treatments for COVID. 6, and they're all different.
And most of them don't talk about any natural remedies.
Yeah. Well, you see, that's what we're up against. And so you got to, it's not written in stone what you should do and what you shouldn't do. It's not written in stone. You got to kind of, do what you think is best, do what works. Okay. If you're taking medicine and it's helping you, bingo, take more of it. But if it's not helping you and it's upsetting your stomach and this and that, well, don't keep taking it because it's not working. So that's the way it goes. Everybody is a little different.
Are there any other doctors that you know of here in Louisville that think like you on this COVID issue?
Not that I know of, but I've heard of other doctors that will prescribe the good medicine. And
what made you take this stance? This is very risky. What made you take this stand against all these other doctors that are out there?
I'm glad you put me on the radio on your program today because I may not be around here tomorrow. But I believe in God, okay? And I believe that there's a purpose to life. I think I'm on the earth for a purpose, and I'm here to do what my Creator put me here for. And I'm trying to figure that out sometimes. But I'm sure that the good Lord Jesus wants us to help our neighbor and try to do what's right. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Well, that's where I'm coming from.
So you're one of those people that believe in right and wrong.
That's right. That's
the
right.
Sensuality of it. So this has been a great conversation. There's another question from the audience. Someone says, "What's the best source of vitamin C?"
Well, I mean, you can get vitamin C. If you go and buy fruit juice in the grocery store, it's loaded with vitamin C. Not only natural vitamin C, but synthetic vitamin C. They put more of that in there, and I don't have any hang up about this. If it says vitamin C, and I don't have any reason to doubt it, you can just take that pill of vitamin C. And same with vitamin D. You can get vitamin D3 2,000 units. I think you can get that over the counter. I think you can get all of this stuff over the counter.
Yep.
And of course, now if you're going to pick and say, oh, well, this is better than that one and this one, well, that's fine. If you got some evidence that you think one is better than another, that's fine. But it's probably all good unless you got some reason to doubt it.
I know personally when I buy juice from the store, I get the frozen concentrates.
Yeah.
And the reason why my thought process personally is the frozen juice has not been pasteurized. It's
right.
just more or less been squeezed and then concentrated down. It's 100% juice. And when it says vitamin C, it's coming, for the most part, naturally. Versus when you see juices that are sitting on the shelf that's been pasteurized. Pasteurization means that they boiled it at 220 degrees, which essentially killed off all the nutritional value. And then you always see on there, and you got to understand, folks, wording is important. You see it says added vitamin C. That word added is important. They had to add it back because they killed it off during the pasteurization process. So personally, I focus on concentrated 100% juices if in fact I buy juice, because at that point I'm getting more of the natural vitamin source. There is still, I think they say, about 70% retention of vitamin and nutrients when something is frozen, when fruit juices or whatever is frozen. So that over the pasteurized juice sitting on the store shelf is where I focus. And I'm glad that you said that about vitamin D. I take I think it's 1,000 milligram vitamin D gummy. I might up that to 2 a day. I do take 1,000 milligram vitamin C, one of those soft capsules with the powder inside. And I drop an echinacea every day, as well as a couple vitamin B3 just for energy sake or whatever. But I'm glad that you kind of jumped in that just the same. And man, just been great having you here on the show. John, did you have any more questions for the good doc?
Well, a couple of things. When we talk about vitamin C, it was interesting. So when we're talking about vitamin C, there's a lot, like you said, there's a lot of sources of vitamin C, natural sources, pineapple, orange. There's quite a few good foods that have naturally vitamin C in it. Now, when we talk about vitamin C that's been extracted, and they call it ascorbic acid, which is that the original name for vitamin C itself?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the chemical name for it.
Correct. So, like you said, there are many sources of vitamin C. I do a lot of juicing myself with pineapples and other juices that I do with ginger and stuff, and a lot of greens. And so anyway, vitamin D. Vitamin D, 2,000 IU a day. That's units. And should it be vitamin D3? Because there's different types of vitamin D.
Yeah, vitamin D3, I think, is the one that you can get at the store that works good.
Gotcha. Now, when you talk about taking zinc, shouldn't zinc be taken with vitamin C? It's my understanding it helps to absorb vitamin C into the body. Yeah. Okay.
Now, I want to read something to the both of you. This is from the audience, and it says, I believe they have a cure for cancer and every other disease out there, but there is too much money in curing disease. There is a plant or insect product or something that can cure everything, and I mean everything. I also believe that if American people find out for sure that America had a cure for these diseases, that they will riot and burn the hospitals and insurance companies down.
Well, yeah, I don't want to see anybody burned or anything, but that's a theory. A lot of people believe that, but where's the evidence? That's just a theory. But I want some evidence. Show me that there's a cure for this or cure for that. I hope there is, But just because I say this or believe that or something, that's not going to cure the cancer. What I want to know is, where's the evidence? Show me if it'll cure cancer. Show me somebody is cured. I believe it. I want to believe it. I want to get cured myself. But I don't believe everything that comes down the street. I want to see the evidence. That's all I believe in what works. Okay, if it works, great. If it doesn't work, then go get something else.
Absolutely. I believe the biggest cure for a majority of most chronic diseases, especially, is prevention, man. Prevention. Knowledge of understanding what it is that you put into your body. I've seen a lot of really good documentaries with some really credible doctors who have learned and understood now that meat is a big factor, or the overconsumption of meat in America is a big factor. And on most people's plates, when you look at all the amount of protein that they have versus grains and greens and the other things that make up our diet, then good Lord, it's at least 50% of the plate consists of high amounts of protein, you know. So yes, we need it, but at the same time, I think anything in moderation is okay. But when we consume anything in overabundance, then that creates a problem. But they never focused on talking about that overconsumption of meat being a problem or being the reason for a lot of the cancers and things of that nature. You know, that's not the mainstream conversation in the medical field out there.
Right. But now, you know, if you read the Bible, after the flood, God said that he made these animals for you to eat. So you got to take that into consideration too.
Yeah, exactly. I think God was hoping we were going to employ a little common sense there too.
Yeah.
I gave you common sense. Why didn't you use it?
That's right. I want all the common sense I can get.
So, when you look at it, somebody else asked another question: is vitamin D a hormone? And just the same, they also asked, and that's one question. And another question is, cures in Mexico that are against the law in the U.S., like oxygen therapy. I know we spoke about oxygen therapy before, right, John?
Yes. Well, and you said someone said oxygen therapy is what, illegal in the U.S.?
Cures in Mexico that are against the law in the U.S., like oxygen therapy being one. I guess what he's trying to say is just not used in mainstream in the hospital.
Well, yeah, it's not probably used as treatment. That is what you would call allopathic or naturopathic way, just like acupuncture. Going to acupuncture, an allopathic doctor is not going to direct you to go to an acupuncturist to cure a certain chronic pain that you have. Oxygen treatment. I've been through oxygen treatment before to cure my lungs after smoking marijuana. I went to have my lungs treated. Correct. A lot of ball players go get these oxygen treatment to improve their lung breathing, to run faster and jump higher. So I've been in an oxygen tank before and would recommend it. I recommend acupuncture also to anyone that have chronic pain.
Absolutely. Well, good doctor, it has been amazing having you on the show. John and I are going to wrap up here. Is there any last thing you'd like to say before you go?
Well, I wish I had all the answers, but I don't. And so we just have to pray in the answers after. You figure out everything you can, and you get all the evidence you can, and you put it all together. And if it works, good. If it doesn't, then you got to go back and pray some more.
And listen, Doc, we very much appreciate you coming on the show. We we advocate the same as you're talking about it. And I think you're right. You have a purpose. You have a purpose to teach the truth. We agree with you on those issues. We want to have you back. And we also would love for you to sponsor us so that we can run snippets of commercials or a sponsorship for you and what you do for people that may want to look for an alternative doctor that's going to listen to them and not going to pump any kind of medication in.
Right. I appreciate that.
Okay.
So,
Absolutely. Well, we'll talk more, Doc, and definitely good having you. And we appreciate you coming to the Tipping Point Morning Show.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. God bless you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Right. All right. Give us 1 second as we chime back in here, folks. Let's see here. All right. Real quick, folks. We just want to give a couple shout outs to you real quick.
Hey folks, check out healthdaddywow.net. 100% plant-based herbs and supplements. Whether you're in person or online, use the word tipping for 10% off. Remember, feel better, look great, healthdaddywow.net. Remember, healthdaddywow.net.
Man, that's awesome.
You are listening to The Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Yeah. Right here on WLOU. Stream it live on Facebook and WLOUonline.com. And now, The Tipping Point Show.
All right, folks. We want to make sure that was Health Daddy Wow, a commercial there. We want to make sure you guys, always hit them up. And, it's funny because we'll mention the whole tipping as a keyword when you either go online or when you go in person to get 10% off. And it never fails. Somebody's like, man, I was just in there the other day and I forgot all about that. So it's to keep you coming back, folks. Make sure you keep going back to Health Daddy Wow and use that word tipping. Listen, whether you get 10% off or not, if you remember that or not, listen, go support your local peoples, man. That's what it's all about. We also want to make sure that you check out IncredibleCustom.com. That's IncredibleCustom.com. That's INKREDIBLE custom.com. All right. That is your boy, Mr. Kari Muhammad. We appreciate you there, sir. Again, incrediblecustom.com. You can text the word ink to 678-506-7543. Again, 678-506-7543. Text the word ink, INK, and you can check them out. Any of your promotional needs or anything like that, from flyers, digital flyers, printing needs, t-shirts, things of that nature, folks, they are on it and they are awesome with it. Just remember the same. We've got godslivesmatter.com. Again, that's godslivesmatter.com. Check them out. Every life has infinite value. Okay, so find your value and go ahead and exploit your value, right? So you can check them out, hit the apparel link and get some free apparel from them as well. Again, that's godslivesmatter.com. Don't forget, folks, Sayababa, SYABABA.com. You can check them out as well. Incense Man. And hey, we waiting on this book to come out, man. The Incense Man. Hey, this is gonna be a dope book, man. I saw the title again yesterday. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be dope. But they are in over 400 locations near you, folks. You got Cincinnati, you got Nashville, you got Louisville, Kentucky, and again, that is sayababa.com. You can even order online as well. They've soap sticks products. You got smell goods from incense to oils and everything else, folks. So check them out, sayababa.com. And again, that was Media Joy that you saw the commercial for as well. Check us out as well, thetippingpoint.com, folks. Don't forget to check that out. Thetippingpoint.com. You can see past shows, links to past shows, upcoming stuff. Hey, y'all need to stay tuned because we got some mayoral candidates that are going to be coming on to get interviewed by us as well. So keep your eyes every Saturday to the Tipping Point Show, 9 a.m. And back to you, Brother John. What you think about the show today?
Man, it was awesome. I love that doctor. Great points. I appreciate him coming on and dropping some of that science because we need to hear it. You know, we really need to hear it. We need to just hear the blank truth, and you need to understand how this helps. And it's funny how no matter where we go, no matter where we at talking about this issue, no matter what doctor, you hear the truth because the truth circulates. Talking about vitamin C, talking about vitamin D3, talking about zinc, the key components to help you get over a simple virus, a simple cold, right? And the doctor's right. It's something that we also been talking about here based on other illnesses that people have that are falling dead or dying from COVID. In other words, so many, it's not the cold itself that'll kill you. It's your weak immune system that's already compromised by something else. So you're walking around with a weak immune system. Listen, if you're on diabetic medicine, you have a weak immune system. If you're on high blood pressure medicine, you on something chronically or over and over the way you have to take for whatever reason, you have a weak immune system. And that can be something that can affect when COVID hits you or just a common cold. And it, like he said, it can kill one person and another person survive it. So it's no different than the flu shots or having just a regular flu. For years, since I've been on this planet, people have died from flu. And, you know, every year people die from just a regular cold, right? A flu. And it's always was the people who had other problems that they were dealing with. So it's nothing like taking care of your health. It's nothing like, listen, you should be getting up early in the morning. You should drink plenty of water. You should be trying to get some sun. You should be trying to move your blood, exercising, working out, walking, push-ups, whatever you got to do, because this is what life is. Life is about movement. And if you're just sitting around eating and clicking the remote control and just sitting around, you're dying, man. You know, so you really got to get that health together, and you shouldn't have to wait till it's too late to realize that, you know, you're killing yourself. You smoking and drinking, and listen, it's what it's about now. And here's what's interesting. You ever heard of survival of the fittest? Well, check this out. Life itself, the universe itself don't have no mercy on you, the weak. Look at a lion or a lioness. If the lioness breaks her leg and she can't hunt, she dies. She can't get up and run and chase that wildebeest. Eventually she dies, and the herd moves on. So you understand that if you become weak, you become a victim, you become someone to step on and move forward in life. And this is what society is about in this country. This country is about keeping you ill, right? As much as possible, at a minimum, to where 65 is the most of us are dying at 65. We ain't living to see 80 and 90 and 125. We're not, right? Because there's a thing about keeping us ill, and there's somebody's making money off that. This is why we have so much stress going on in our lives. So anyway, take care of your health, man. And that's the most important thing we can do, is get up on it. And that's one of the things we talk about here. Health Daddy is all about the health. So we ain't doing this just to trying to get some accolades or some points. No, we're really trying to talk about how you can heal yourself and how you can, better economically bring in some money and better improve your health so that you can live long and healthy. Nobody's going to live forever. No matter how old you get, and we all should be looking to get old. It's the quality of life when you get old is going to be important. Not how you're going to die, but what's your quality? Are you able to move? The last thing I would want to be is old, senile, and can't get up and walk to the restroom and wipe my own.
My heart goes out.
My ass at all, right? So the quality. What's your quality is important.
My heart goes out to some people. There's a lady in my my building downtown, and I mean, beautiful spirit, but walks around hunchback, all day. So the primary thing that she sees on a daily basis is the ground. I look at stuff like that, and she's not that old. Maybe that's an illness or what have you. But I'm just saying, your health is wealth. So I know a lot of us, myself included, we're striving to drop weight and do different things. And I'm telling you, folks, at the very least, I mean, one thing you said is so important was just drinking good quality water, and drinking enough of it daily. I mean, 6 to 8 glasses, 8-ounce glasses of water at least, right? At least, please, at least do that. I look at the methodology of they say half your body weight in ounces a day is a good formula, right? But just getting good, because number one thing to fight against mucus, right, which is the big factor in this whole COVID thing, right, is water. It breaks down the mucus in your system. So that's one of the first combatants you have against mucus, which essentially is one of the first combatants you have against this COVID thing. Get enough water in your system. Just simple things like that. People say, "Oh, I don't like the taste of water." Oh my God, they created. I mean, you don't like the taste of water, but you will pop a doctor prescribed pill over and over simply
crazy.
because. But you don't like the taste of water, right?
I never understood that. A person said they don't like the taste. Fuck, it don't even have a taste.
Exactly. And the thing about it is they create all type of things to help people get more water, right? There's the infusion water bottles, right, where you can stuff a bunch of fruit down in there, and then in the middle part of it, and then you fill that with water, and you get the flavor of the fruit infused into your water. Man, get some more water, folks. Gosh, common sense plays a big part. Stop looking at a juice on the front that says 100% vitamin C, and you like, oh yeah, that's good. But then you turn around on the back and it say 12% juice, and the first ingredients is like water, sugar, and then maybe down the line you see juice, right? Natural flavors. Why is natural flavors an ingredient when they already listed orange juice? I mean, common sense got to kick in at some point, folks, when you start looking at this stuff. And like shout out to Ahamarid, the general. She says a mask will not save your weak ass immune system. It won't, folks. Here's the stupidity behind that. They've already proven that the spores of COVID are smaller than the size of a mask, folks. I mean, you're trying to put a condom on your face and it's not working, folks. I mean, the whole thing is stupid. It really is when you really look at the common sense side of this whole thing. You got people on the other side of the glass at the bank that rub their nose and then hand you a pen. And you know what I mean? But you worry about a mask. I mean, it's just stupid when you really look at the common sense side of this thing, man. Hey, look, like she said, people pop the pill with the water.
Right.
They pop the prescribed pill. Go ahead.
Frank made an interesting point about the oxygen and cancer. Cancer treatment. Okay, so yeah. I've read that, you know, in other countries, I don't know about here in the U.S., that oxygen is a part of treatment. And here's why it's very important. We need to understand the importance of oxygen. Okay, it's extremely important. Without oxygen, you can't heal. Your blood has to have oxygen in it. Oxygen, okay, here's how it works. So you'll breathe in air, you breathe in. Okay, so you only get 20% of that is oxygen, only 20%. But the human body as an adult, the brain and the whole body needs 555 liters of oxygen a day. So that's fine. So if you're taking in less oxygen, that affects not only your immune system, it affects your nerves in your brain. It affects your brain cells, and it affects all parts of your body in your organs. And so when organ starts to break down, one organ breaks down, it'll break down the next organ and the next organ and the next organ. Right. So oxygen plays a role. Water plays a role. Breathing in good oxygen is helpful. I've learned this when I went through my oxygen treatment, and I started reading about oxygen and why our athletes was using it. Because here's why. It's very interesting. People who study Qigong and Tai Chi do breathing exercise. If you just do normal breathing exercise, feel how your body feels and your brain feels from breathing, especially in the morning, taking deep breaths and doing an exercise by taking in the breath and breathing out. It is extremely good for you. So what you're doing is you're taking in more than 550 liters of oxygen a day. When you do that, you increase your brain power. You think more. You feel better just by breathing better. So it helps your body to repair itself. It's very important to get proper sleep, because when you sleep is when your brain is repairing itself and your other parts of your body is being repaired. So, and that's one of the parts about good health is proper sleep. If you ain't getting proper sleep, meaning if you ain't in bed and sleep by before midnight, 11 o'clock, you should be in bed. If you up late, it can have an effect on your brain, your thinking, you wake up brain fog. So oxygen is extremely important. And also understand that elevating your feet is important. Why? Because most of your fresh oxygen is in your feet. So you see people who elevate their feet upward, allowing the oxygen from their feet to come to the brain. If you wake up with brain fog, if you are smoking marijuana late and you end up having brain fog in the morning, you know that brain fog and you just ain't fully into it. Elevate your feet for about 10 minutes, just 10 minutes. Elevate your feet up and then just allow the blood to run to your brain. You will feel your legs, your feet begin to have, you know how it feel like it's going to fall asleep because of the oxygen, right? All the blood. And watch how your brain feel. Watch it wake you up. Watch it remove the brain fog. So that's oxygen. That's oxygen to the brain is extremely important.
Awesome stuff. I'm gonna attempt to see if I can share something. Then we'll get out of here a little bit. But I want to see if I can share this video with you guys, because this is some awesome stuff. Let's see. I'm gonna share screen and see if we can make this work. Let's see here. All right. Let's see. There we go. It's popping up. We're gonna see if this works. And see if y'all can see this. Let me see. Can anybody hear anything?
I can hear some, but I can't hear it that good to understand what he's talking about. I do know it's about these athletes dropping dead.
Yeah.
A lot of echo.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna have to do that another time. Hold on. And all right. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna drop this link in the comments, right? on the Tipping Point Show page, right? And I want y'all to take a look at this. I always encourage people to look at things and figure things out for themselves. You know, you can research and create the validity. But what's interesting is I saw a video similar to this a while before. I think I shared it with you, John. This is a new one. And let me tell you something. I get a lot of this stuff from other doctors. All right. When I used to do Vitamix, I would find myself all across the US, you know, basically standing up in front of crowds of people, selling this $500 price point machine that was a Whole Foods juicing blender, right? High powered, all that good stuff, right? You could throw the whole apple in there, turn the seeds, everything into a liquid, right? No separation of the fiber and the sugars, nothing like that, right? With that in mind, I would find a lot of doctors that would, you know, be in the area at the trade show or wherever I was at, and they would walk into my presentation, and my presentation was filled with a lot of health and wellness because the Vitamix machine was the first combatant that I had in ridding myself of medications for Crohn's disease, right? So my pitch, if you will, had a lot of factoids in it concerning health and wellness. So I have these doctor friends, and I'll be honest with you, it's interesting. I can't get I can't get many of them on the show to talk because they are in fear of what's going on when a doctor speaks out, right? But they'll share things with me. And with that in mind, this particular new video about the athletes, it has some of the old footage, but man, there's some footage in there showing people who are like blowing their nose and the stuff comes out like jello. It's so thick. After, you know, people who have gotten a shot, right? Gotten all the shots and everything, and their blood is coagulated. It's thick. And that is the oxygen issue right there. That's a major oxygen issue. And you guys have been hearing about it in the news, blood clotting and all of that stuff. They're not talking about Jamaican people. Okay. Now, when they talking about blood clots, they are not saying, you know, go to Jamaica. No, they are saying that your blood is thickening up. And that is what makes it difficult for the oxygen to flow. So I'm going to drop that link in the comments, and you'll be amazed at some of the things you hear from different scientists, doctors, people you can actually look up. This is a conglomerate video of a bunch of different things. You know, the fact of the matter, you could even go on the CDC's website and look at adverse reactions and then ask yourself, why are they not talking about all these adverse reactions in the media the way that they talk about people needing to go and get the shot? You know, you have to ask yourself, why is that not part of the conversation? If you're going to tell the people something, give them both sides. Right. You know what I mean? Let them make their own decision. Give them both sides. Don't just give them one side. You know, that's what children do when they trying to get away with something. They come over, they give you one side of the story. You know what I mean? That's what your girl did when she cheated. You know what I mean? She just said, yeah, I just went out and had drinks. She didn't say what happened like later. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, you know, and you do, you know, ladies, yeah, I'm gonna be fair with that. You do same thing. But I'm just saying, you know, give us both sides. And that's all that we talk about. Because if you give people both sides, then you allow them to make a decision. But correct. What the problem is that people are making decisions based on fear of a one-sided story. That's a problem. That's not cool. And you have to ask yourself, would you want your friend, your personal friend next to you to just be giving you one side of a story every time they talk to you? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't be cool with that person if that's all they gave you. But people out there saying yes to this shot, saying yes to everything after listening to just a one-sided story. It's not cool, folks. So that's my little tidbit. And with that in mind, again, shout out to Ahamara, shout out to Frank, shout out to Dr. No Job, shout out to Phyllis Myers, shout out to Lovely Locks, shout out to let's see, Joseph Reeves. shout out to everybody who's been coming on and supporting us. We appreciate you. Again, we're putting the show in more areas. We're trying to create some relationships with some bigger platforms as well. But check out the website once again. Again, that's the tippingpointshow.com. Shout out to Brother Sharam, who is like, just been a blessing to our team. Shout out to Kari Muhammad, who's been a blessing to our team. Shout out to Rashana, a blessing to our team. We appreciate all of you that are rocking with us. So, any last words?
Yeah, man, we had a great show. Also, we had a great show last week. But one of the things I would like to revisit, that subject last week because of the importance of the subject. And I think we did that subject a disservice. I think it should have been more handled differently. And so with that said, I'm reaching out to Dr. or Professor Smalls to discuss the sovereignty or the Moors issue. And whether or not are we all Moors? This is a very important issue that we need to be talking about because people are interested in knowing, are we all Moors? Are we all Hebrews? Some Hebrews say, no, we're not Moors. We are from the tribe of Judah right here, right? And so everyone's got that. So we want to bring in a professor to where we can clear up some of these terminologies and what the word Moor means. Where did it come from, right? Who are the real Moors and who are the Moors that came out of Nova Juali? We want to understand these things because this is where a lot of people didn't know there was difference. So people hear this Moor conversation about being a Moor and that we're all Moors, and that is not absolutely correct. So who am I to say it? So let me bring on someone that is more educated, that is a historian in that area.
Awesome, man. Awesome. That makes me think of a lot of funny things to say, especially in reference to last week and the aficionado conversation or supposed aficionado conversation last week. So that would be great. I think it's always good to know where you're from. Know where you've been. It's good to kind of, know the thing about the whole thing from the past thing with me is just, okay, like we talked about last week as well, degrees of separation from being a human. You know what I mean? There's so many different degrees of separation, from just being a human, and there's a populous side of people that are never going to admit that, the first people on this earth, as we all understand that humans originated from Africa, right? That was kind of where first humans originated, possibly. But with that in mind, they're not going to admit that the skin was melanated, right? They're not going to admit. They're never going to admit that. No matter how many facts you could go back to the past using time travel, videotape the first human, 500,000 years ago or whatever, come back and show that side, show them people, and they still won't admit it. They won't, because the fact of the matter is that, I don't know, I look at it and I say none of us were there. The question to me is, with this knowledge, how can more of us get on the same page? That's the bigger question for me. How can more of us get on the same page? And that's no pun intended. Or maybe it is. But
think about this. We as a people, melanated, black, Negro, whatever you want to refer to us as, we are going through what is called an identity crisis. No, literally. We're trying to find out who the hell are we, right? And all of it is surface information. It's all about the surface. What do you want to call yourself that make you feel connected to a group of people? We're always trying to find a group. Even if we're trying to get our DNA or trying to get our ancestry DNA, we're trying to find a group. Oh, I'm from this tribe. Oh, I'm from that tribe. And I get that. Somehow, some of us feel the importance to have a connection to something we can say, hey, I'm part of that tribe. But listen, though, it's very important that if what you are searching for doesn't bring you an abundance, then is it really something that is beneficial to you? It may sound good. The question becomes, if you, and I'm going back to this more conversation, if the importance of it is for me to be in a more, what's in it for me? Where am I going to benefit? Is the universe going to open the doors for me and grant me wealth? Because here's the thing. The only way out of your poverty is with money, currency. The only way out of your situation, whether you think you are oppressed, whether you think, hey, the white man just got his foot on your neck, the only way out of it is with currency. So I question anyone that teaches me identity, does it comes with an attachment? Are you going to teach me how to maneuver wealth in this country? Are you going to teach me how to buy property? Are you going to teach me how to build generational wealth for my family don't have to suffer? If you're not giving me these key points, then you're only giving me surface information that I really can't do much with, other than say, hey, I'm a Moor, I'm a Muslim, or I'm a Hebrew. If it doesn't have any root to it, so it's got to have meaning to me. So if you tell me I'm a Moor, and this is why I asked the question, no pun intended, about, if I asked the question, I said, what can you do I can't do? Where can you go I can't go? Because then that may be the reason why I may want to join the Moors. If you can show me where something you got I can't get because I'm not a Moor. But if you can't prove that to me, then you can't lure me in to something easy. Yeah. And lastly, most of us are just now coming into new knowledge. But it's new knowledge to you, but it's been around for centuries. Moors is not a new subject for me. A lot of y'all just now getting, those of you who are 40 and under, maybe 45 and under, this is new knowledge to you. They were talking about Moors in the 70s, in the 60s. So it's not new to me. Nova Drew Ali been around since the 30s, right?
Now they talk about it more and more.
More and more, right? So we got to understand that everyone's searching for an identity crisis. But here's the thing. This is where we become anti or at each other, because you are Moor and I'm a Hebrew, or he's a Muslim and he's a Christian. We all can't sit down together and create a formula that can get us out of poverty. So someone said to me, he said, well, look at the Italians. The Italians don't have all this old fighting with each other. They have a problem, but the Italians don't have all the vices that we have. In the Italian community in Italy, they don't have Moors and Hebrews and Muslims and Christians, all the same people grabbing at each other, saying, my God is better than your God. My God is bigger than your God. See, this is where the big elephant in the room we have to face when it comes to us coming together. Whose God are we going to follow? Because if you are Christian, your last words in your mouth is amen, Jesus, in Jesus' name, amen, right? And if you are Muslim, you're like, I ain't with that shit. Let us come together and hold hands, and let one of the people in the hold hands saying, let us pray in Jesus' name. What? I ain't praying in that man's name. See the difference? If you are Muslim,
but my thing is, why can't people just, why can't they hold hands and just understand that, okay, we're all praying to the same God.
Well,
right?
No, because we all place that entity of who we are connected to our ego, and that's bigger than who we are as human beings. If we just see each other as humans, we can get past all the religion shit. But if we can't, then we got this cover of this thing we are attached to, and we make that us instead of being the human part in you. The humanity in you will make you hold hands with anyone. But if you separate yourself with this, I'm a Moor, I'm a Muslim, and a Hebrew, your humanity is out the door, because now you can kill another person that's not like you in your religious belief system. And that's what happens.
Hey, Ahamara said, I just keep my eyes open in the prayer circles. My pops, my pops was talking about that the other day. He said, I don't know why people bow their heads when they pray. And he's like, even when you look at the historical text of the Bible. And if you want to speak about Jesus, Jesus looked up to the heavens when he prayed. He didn't bow his head. He looked up to the heavens, and prayed to the Father, or spoke to the Father. There wasn't a bowing of the head. And so it's interesting that she just said that. It made me think about that. I like what she said earlier is more money, more money, more money, MOOR money. Hey, you know what? Maybe just maybe if you are a breakdance artist, right? And you found out that the Moors becoming a Moor or claiming more your face, bro. Claiming Moorism would make you be the best break dancer ever. I get it then. I get it. Be a Moor, because that way you might win more breakdance competitions. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know.
Be more.
You know, I'm just saying. What you say?
Be more. Be more.
Yeah. Exactly. So, I'm all about it. But when it all boils down to it, all of us need to survive, and we need a few dollars to survive. So if you look at your current situation and you can say, you know what, I'm good. I'm financially set. I need no more. I'm good for the rest of my life. I don't need to increase or anything. I am great where I'm at. Guess what? You are in a situation to where you can just focus on whatever. You could focus on the butterfly effect, and you could the butterfly could be your deity. It don't matter. You can do whatever you want at that point. But when if you haven't gotten there yet, then to me that should be your primary focus, and all this other stuff is just things to divide and again, in a sense, make you what would it cloud your mind in your pathway focus to getting more money, right? So I'm with you with respect to that. There you go. Which one is that?
Love more.
Love more. There we go.
You see that?
There we go.
I got too much light in there.
There you go. That's love, MOOR. So what made you come up with that one?
I have a love more and more money because of the concept and the wording, just playing the words as a fragrance to bring people to the rack, get the people to look at it, and boom, boom. If you're connected to the more, you'll pick up a pack. Everything's about memory. Smells is about memory, and things are about attraction in the sales world. And when you talk about sales and product selling, when you look at products have certain words to draw you to it, right? And so that's kind of what I'm into, learning words and the magic in words to bring people to the rack. Hey, this is what business is about, is trying to attract people into your settings so that they can do what? Buy. And in this life, you either buying or you selling. You doing both. You either buying or you selling, but one you may be doing more. You either selling more or you're buying more. So I encourage everyone. The universe is about reciprocal. Buy and sell. So have something to sell, and you always got something to buy.
There you go. And with that being said, folks, hey, we have yet again another episode of the Tipping Point Morning Show with your host, Mr. Just As Joe, and my brother from another mother, Brother John Yah. You know what? I got to go look up that tagline. We got a tagline we're going to start hitting y'all with at the end of the show. I think you texted to me, and I don't know if you remember it right now, but I'm going to go look that up. We're going to start hitting that up at the end of the show or something like that. But this has been a wrap. Another episode of the Tipping Point Morning Show. Remember, folks, thetippingpointshow.com. Check us out, thetippingpointshow.com. All right, that's sales right there. You're gonna remember the last thing I said. Thetippingpointshow.com. Peace.
You are listening to The Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Yeah. Right here on WLOU. Stream it live on Facebook and WLOUonline.com. And now, The Tipping Point Show.